Welcome to the Wire to Wire podcast. It's me, your host Yusuf, and I'm back with a special episode for you guys. I'm joined by Adam Ali, aka Adam Won't Lose. He's a man that wears many hats. He's the founder of Everyday Hustle. That's also the name of his YouTube channel, Beard Oil, and podcast. He's an entrepreneur and author of 2 children's books. More importantly, he's the father of 3 children. Now, we have a great episode today discussing his journey, life, parenting, business, and a bunch of other topics. I'm sure you guys will enjoy this one. So without further ado, let's just get right to it. Thank you for your time and for joining me on the podcast. I know you have a lot going on, so it's really appreciated.
Everybody's tied up. Everybody's busy, man. So
we're all playing the game of life, right?
It's all good. Thank you for even thinking about me and welcome me to your podcast.
Yeah, one of the things, I've always respected about you and why I really want to get you on, you have a very strong work ethic, but your level of discipline and your time management. So you're someone, I know you wear a lot of hats and you have a lot of different ventures that you're involved with. Content creator, you have your own beard oil, you're an author of 2 children's books, you have more on the way. You're an influencer and a brand partner for many different brands. So I guess my first question to you would be, how do you manage your time effectively to get all of these things done?
How? I don't know. I just do it. I mean, it's like, what's the alternative to it? Just chaos.
Yeah.
I just do it, man, because I just cannot. I'm already juggling a lot of things in my life. I'm a father, first. I got kids to oversee. Then I have several business operations, and then I have, a household to take care of. So it's in my best interest that I create systems that allows me to get things done in the most efficient way and try my best not to fully burn out.
Yeah.
You just do it because it makes sense, because the opposite of that is just chaos, and chaos is no good, right? So yeah, I have a task list that I use.
Okay.
I use a service called To-Do, TEUXDEUX.com.
Okay.
Been using a decade. And pretty much it just allows you to map out every day. And if you don't complete a task, it automatically carries over to the next day. It allows you to look at your entire week at one glance. So kind of know what's going on versus most applications out there that only show you what's happening today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I try to categorize my tasks, I should say, based on, high priority, low priority, people I need to contact, personal things, finances. So I just categorize it. And of course, you try to focus on the high priority stuff, and then you go down the list and try to do the other things.
So what does an average day look like for you?
Yeah, wake up, get my daughter ready for school, drop her off at the bus stop. If possible, maybe squeeze another 30 minutes of rest. Then I'm a pre-workout kind of guy. Take some pre-workout, go work out, get that sweat. That really sets the tone for the day. I then start my day. I try to avoid consuming any kind of social media or news first thing in the morning.
That's genius.
Yeah, so I just be focused on, the workout, revving myself up. And then you get back to the house and you get to the task or going to these appointments that I have, the meetings. Yeah, and every day differentiates from one another. Some days I am filming. Some days I'm doing content with my daughter. So it really varies based on what needs to be done. Once I clock in, I should say, to the hustle, It's all day, man. It's really all day of just chipping away. And that's kind of the flow. It's not like some mystical day of, in the tunnel in the darkness, freaking making a potion of some sort. It's just,
There's no Zen master aspect to it.
there really is. It's
Just
just,
get up and do it.
and I try to emulate that same, I guess, day to day, even when I'm traveling.
Mm-hmm.
I would squeeze a workout in, and
You like to have like that structure and routine.
yeah.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody, whether they know you personally or professionally, or even like just your audience from like just watching, everyone knows your discipline. Like it's very obvious, it's self-apparent, right? Where do you think that discipline comes from?
I think just being on my own from an early age, I would say it kind of, I guess there's some growing pains where you think that you have time and you could just be a youth forever, and that's not the case, right? It's just then you got to figure out how to make things work for you. Like I know I've been on my own since 16, 17.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, you get burnt from living a certain type of way, and then it's up to you, really, to create these systems and figure out, what works.
Yeah. Because if you don't do it, no one else is going to do it for you, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could say, too, I see my dad be very, diligent and focus, his way of dealing.
Yeah.
But, I just had to figure out what worked for me. And that's kind of who I am. And that's who I became. Sorry, that's who I became, and that's who I am now.
Okay. So it's a combination of lived experience and of observation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I remember when you started this journey thing, it really started with you doing a body fitness transformation. I remember you had the 4-part video series. And then from there, you went on to sign on with Pharma Freak. And then eventually it just transitioned into other industries and you became the person that we see before us today. How were you able to leverage those skill sets from health and fitness and, personal training when you started out, and then use it to adapt into these different fields?
Yeah, when I started off, I was your typical trainer at a gym, just trying to prospect for new clients to train. And, you want to figure out ways to stand out. You want to figure out ways to make more impact and essentially brand yourself. And I just took a leap of faith and decided, let me create some video content and see how people resonate to it. I created the 4-part motivational video series, and it was fun. And I guess that kind of sparked, creating my brand. And from there, I learned a lot of things because now I'm starting to work with brands, and now I'm learning how to speak more fluid in front of a camera and presenting myself in public settings, and then how to conduct yourself with just people and followers and fans, and really trying to figure out how do you stand out and be a positive role model. And then, you take these, learnings and you carry it over to, different ideas that arises, different opportunities. It's just one of those things where you grow and you try to take what you learn and apply it to these new areas of your life.
Right.
It's an interesting place, social media, because there isn't no blueprint yet. Like, we are creating the blueprint, and every day the blueprint changes, and there's new things, and there's more shock, and it's a very strange space. I also think it's a very dangerous space because there's no blueprint, and it's forever evolving. We're showing our come up live, literally live stream as you do all of this. So sometimes, you say the wrong things, but there's no blueprint, or sometimes it works out in your favor. And then it's just a weird, just social media is just a strange place. I think as long as you know how to distinguish the social media realm from the 3D dimensional
Yeah.
world, you will be able to, because it's very easy to get lost in that world, because the social media world gives you instant gratification, gives you, you know, instant love,
Yeah.
instant feedback, and it's such a faster world than the 3D world.
Hmm.
um, which could be very dangerous if now your ego is attached to that kind of instant feedback.
Yeah.
I'm making sense.
No, it does make sense.
Yeah.
I think just that blur from social media to reality, I think it's just kind of created this blur where people sometimes they can't distinguish between what goes on in social media and then what goes on in real life. It's very interesting. But one thing with social media is you always you get out of it what you look for. So if you're someone who just strictly wants to use it for like branding purposes or getting yourself out there, then you'll definitely find your niche for that too. But if you're someone that just uses it for vanity, then that's what you're going to get out of it as well. So you're right. In a sense, we are kind of like that lab rat generation with social media, because we still don't really know the long-term effects because we were born with it. So I think over time, there'll be more like concrete studies that show what effect it actually has.
Yeah. I 100% agree. The social media world is growing right in front of our eyes, and we don't even know what it all means, and just going with it. We're trying to take advantage of it where it makes sense, and and it's been great. I'm not going to say it's been phenomenal for me, for countless amount of people, because it enables us to almost immediately get create our voice to the potential mass. So I've been in the digital space for the last decade. It's been great, but do we know what the ramifications are yet? No, we don't. We're starting to see, I feel like there's definitely a loss of human touch, even though we're connected. But from the 3D world, I feel like there's a because you can see it. You walk into a restaurant and everybody's just not even that social setting is not there. Everyone's just kind of looking at their phone. It's just even almost weird to just be together without that need to be on your phone, or keeping up.
Yeah.
I was thinking yesterday, I was walking downstairs to go eat something, and I'm eating, and I remember I left my phone upstairs, and I'm like, I don't even enjoy my meal without like looking through my phone.
Yeah.
I almost feel like if I'm not digesting the information off my phone, the food don't even taste good.
Yeah,
So it was an interesting observation.
It's so crazy how much it's literally become like a part of us. And like, yeah, sometimes it can have that effect, like you're saying, where eating dinner, something as simple as eating dinner that we need to do, it's just not the same without having your phone there. Right. Or like we'll walk in a restaurant, we'll sit down at a table, we all have our phones out. We're taking pictures of our food. Like before we even eat the food, we're just taking pictures of it. So it's interesting. I think in the next 10 to 15 years, I think we'll have better understanding as more studies are done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, there's no blueprint. We are the blueprint.
Yeah.
It's changing, evolving every day. So who knows what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. So back to our conversation, with all the different ventures that you've been involved with, you've always remained true to your roots and passions, which is health and fitness. Like we were talking earlier, that's how you got started. Yeah. And then you have that program, Men Strong, and now you recently started a collaboration with Maria Jose. So what would you say it's about this particular field? You mentioned how it sparked your passion, but how is it that it still kept you into it, because you still have a foothold in that industry and you're still finding success within it? So what is it about that industry that keeps you in the game?
I guess, I have 10 years of fitness digital business experience. So it allows me to still provide, a service. My 3 fitness digital platforms is the Men Strong one, and then I have, people probably don't know, but I manage and oversee Ace Hood's fitness brand called #Shredded, which is one of the bigger ones. And then I have this coming up female fitness online platform with Maria coming out very soon. But
Yeah.
it's just because I have, a decade of experience in that world.
Another thing that you also have quite experience in is parenting. Like you said earlier, you're a father first, which I really respect. Yeah, you're a father of 3 beautiful children, Samia, Zain, and Aya.
Yeah.
Now, as a father of 3, what are some of the lessons you've learned along the way about parenthood? Whether it's about yourself or dealing with your children, maybe both. Like, what are some of the lessons you've learned?
Oh, it's countless lessons every day. I think just things that come to my mind is, being patient, being mindful of the things that you're saying, the way you're saying it, being mindful of, potentially how are they observing what you're saying? Can you say it in a way where it resonates better? It's about, it's about creating systems for them that fosters a healthy child development. It's putting them in positions to challenge themselves and grow. It's a challenge for for myself every day because I got to show up. These are tiny little beings who are
looking to you.
reliable. You know what I mean? Like
they're looking to you.
Yeah, they look into and these are my responsibilities, and they bring you joy because that's your there's that amazing connection. There's just so much. I could sit here and have a whole entire podcast about this, but I think patience is will always be number one. And your kids are gonna, they're gonna pin you to the wall and really challenge you and really get you to, look within and, come up with more, And I know that because when, my first one was in the oven, like I was like on real hustle mode. Like, how do I get this child in a house? You know what I mean? Like I wanted to, and you go into real grind mode. They really, really put your back against the wall to get it, It's truly a blessing. You can't take it for granted. And you just try to do your best. You learn and you try to pass on those learning, those values, those morals. Because believe it, they're a sponge. They watch everything. They see everything. They feel everything. If anything, they can read energy better than we can. So
yeah, kids are very intuitive.
They're intuitive for sure. So you got to be very mindful of everything. Like I said, the way you say it, you can't be sarcastic with them because they take everything for face value.
One thing that I respected that you did too is actually I saw it on Everyday Hustle is you took Samia to the bank and you opened a bank account for her. You have Zayn, he's currently involved in baseball. He does other extracurricular activities as well. I think he does karate as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
They're growing up and things like this help them build their confidence or self-esteem. It gives them education, right? Why do you feel that it was like that it's important for you to get them involved early?
As I get older, I could see where I never got exposed as a child, to certain things, and where I was disadvantaged now that I'm where I'm at. And, you try to fill those gaps. I feel like, as having immigrant parents, they didn't understand the way this country works, and they did what they could, which was put food on the plate and work and clock in and just, so a lot of the, how do I say it? The lot of approaches that the typical, I guess, citizen of this country, they weren't doing, like setting up education funds and getting their finances ready and saving for retirement. Like they weren't thinking about that because they didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
So now we've gone through that process. I think it's, we got to fill those voids and do better.
Yeah.
And the kids are seeing that. They're going to see, God willing, see the advantages of these systems that we create for them. And hopefully they do even better for the next generation. So it's just, it's kind of, do you want to repeat what was done before? Or do you want to, amplify it and do better? So it's simple. I think the earlier you do it, the potential of it, the seed growing is better.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's about, changing the trajectory as generation comes down. Because, when you see your parents, they're working just for survival. So the stuff that we have time to work on and think about, they never got that opportunity. It was just survival, like you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
But growing up, watching them have to go through that, it made us realize that that can't be the only way. So we look for alternatives and doing the work like you've been doing. And now you've been able to create a different trajectory for your children to strive for. But I think that's a good thing. So,
Absolutely. I mean, no, I 100% agree with what you just said.
yeah. So in all the different aspects of your life, whether that be professionally or personally or creatively, do you have any philosophies or values that you lean on to guide you?
I have a lot of philosophies and I guess values that I live by, but I guess something that a few things that come to my mind as we have this conversation is it's the basic stuff, which is never hurt other people and never hurt yourself. I think those are two simple but yet forgotten values that we tend to forget because a lot of times our emotions get in the way and we're looking for revenge. We're looking for, we're looking on how to trump situations, trump people. So that's kind of been my thing. Never hurt yourself, never intentionally try to hurt people, never try to hurt yourself. Own up to your shortcomings. Understand that most shortcomings there are lessons. That's kind of been my brand. Won't lose, right? It's not about the loss. It's about the lesson there. Because if you constantly learn the lesson, you can never lose. Understanding that you just because you know something today and you think that, you meet someone and they don't know it, don't think you're better than them. Everyone is going through this journey on their own time, their own pace. Have humility, be selfless. Just understand that, we're all in this, we come into this realm and no one really has it figured out. I mean, you may have it figured out financially, but from a spiritual and other virtues, we're just here, navigating and really trying to figure this all out. Do your best to just be kind and stay away from messy situations. Allow people to get burnt, get their karma. And it's all beautiful, man. It's even when there's disaster, not necessarily like disaster, but when there's less fortunate events, there's usually a beautiful lesson that's going to come out of it. And just aware, just being aware of it. Awareness is huge, I think. Yeah, just these are just things that are coming to my mind. So many, ways of dealing and just kind of be authentic to who you are.
That's a big one.
Yeah, just be authentic, because if you don't be authentic, you're definitely you're going to find yourself in a dark place because you're going to become something that you never was. And I feel like that's one of the ramifications of social media, because you start seeing people doing things and you want to emulate that or become that. So there's a lot of people copying each other, and then you might find success, right? Because you followed some sort of pathway that's been laid out, but then you get all the success and then you're depressed, you're sad. What happened? A lot of times you became something that you never really was.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? A lot of copying, a lot of things. I think if you have that awareness, you'll know your light and where you should be heading.
And I think that's where like self-reflection is very important. Like I find just taking time to just self-reflect and just ask yourself questions, but productive questions, right? Because asking why me as opposed to what can I do differently or what can I do better? What things do I like? That's more empowering. And now it puts your mind in a mind state where it starts looking at those questions from a more like you're in control mind frame. And it makes self-discovery a lot easier, I find.
Yeah, I think I was in my previous podcast with Chad E. Foster. He made a very important point, which is, we become the stories we're telling ourselves. So what story are we telling? Is it a victimized story? Yeah, we got to be very careful of the chatter,
Yeah.
discussion that we have with ourselves, and making sure that we are creating a positive space in our minds and be mindful of the stories we're telling, because a lot of times the stories that we're telling, we're exaggerating it. And if we
Yeah.
keep staying in that world, we become that.
It's true.
Yeah.
And it always starts with one, right? So that just that one complaint can eventually make it easier to do a second one. And then before you know it, it can become your character, your personality. And that's an energy drain. It's very draining to think about life from that lens where something bad's always happening to you. You're always the victim. And it's like eventually, you want to liberate yourself of that, right? And the best way to do it is it starts internally. But you have to have a level of comfort with yourself to even get to that point.
I agree.
So with all this talk, I kind of want to switch gears a little bit, and I want to discuss this beard oil that you recently launched.
Right.
So when you were developing it, right, how important was it for you that this be an extension of your everyday hustle brand?
Yeah, I was just trying to fill a void, because I have a beard and I'm using these products out there. And, I hated using products where my hands was getting oily. And I just wanted something that was a little less messier. So just from the packaging of it, like it's a spray bottle, which is pretty unique in the beard world. A lot of times they use the dropper. Sometimes just you spray it around your beard, a few times, and then you comb. So that was kind of the problem that I was trying to solve, and my annoyance of using various products in the beard world. But yeah, I wanted to create a scent that when you smelt it, it really gave it made you feel like it just smelled like like the hustlers in the building. And I think I was able to do that with the chemist that I was working, after 7-8 tries. And yeah, people seem to really like that scent that I got going. Yeah, it definitely represents me, and I've had majority positive feedback. Now I'm just looking on expanding. Like today, I was spending some time trying to figure out how do I get it to the Amazon UK. Next week, it should be officially on Amazon Canada. Finally.
I've been waiting, man, trying to get that to my rotation.
Amazon has been, I don't know why they make their getting on their marketplace a process. If you've been using their marketplace as a seller, it's not easy.
It's interesting though, because their books is not so difficult. No. Like their books is very straightforward.
Their books is very straightforward. Yeah, the marketplace is a tricky one for sure.
But it's good though. Amazon Canada is coming for sure, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've sent boxes and I would get issues either at the custom, something. And I literally just mailed out a bunch of products 2 days ago. So I'm hoping that it gets to Brampton, Amazon, FBA Fulfillment Center, and then they can officially start distributing across Canada.
Hopefully, bro. For the other side of your content creation, you have two children's books out now, premised around your daughter Samia. So, what led you into creating these stories?
Yeah, I was just reading books with my daughter, and as I was reading the book, I found myself constantly breaking down the story so she could explain it more. And I was like, why I would love to create a book where what you read is like what's being observed versus constantly breaking the storyline down so that they can understand it more. So that was kind of the reason why. And it was more about legacy too, for her down as she gets older, for her to be like, oh wow, I had books under my, that were based on me as a child. Yeah, it's and it was good timing. Her aunt, who's a doctor, was showed strong interest in collaborating. So it was good timing. It was
Yeah. I kind of just made a quick observation off of like what you were saying with the beard oil as well as with the children's book story, is that you identified things that you didn't like or things that could be done better.
exactly
And
that'll always be my approach. It'll never be
mhm,
about just doing something because it's cool
yeah,
thing to do. If I'm gonna create a new venture, I'm
yeah,
gonna try to solve a problem,
yeah,
and then present or remind people about that problem,
mhm,
and hopefully it solves their problem.
yeah. And that's really the key principle of business, right? Is like to identify a problem and see if there's a way that you can introduce a solution to the marketplace that someone else isn't doing, right? So I find that to be admirable, because the easiest thing would have just been to leave a review on their Amazon and say, "Oh, this product, you guys should do this instead." Like that's what most people would do, and it's good. Like it's good for business. You welcome that, right? Because you want that feedback. But the fact that you actually took action and tried to find a way to make it, authentic and unique to you, I think is very admirable. So I respect that.
Thanks.
So when you're creating content for your YouTube as well, the videos, I believe you drop them weekly, if I'm not mistaken.
I tried to, yeah.
Yeah. So do you take that same approach or mindset when you're working on your videos?
Yeah, I think I try to provide value. I don't want to just record aimless, senseless content, and that works for some people because some people are just
Mm-hmm.
so obsessed with people's lives and whatever they provide, they're fine with it. But I just wanted to, I just wanted to provoke emotions and make you feel. I just wanted to present an experience with my content so that when you watched it, you're gonna get potentially enlightened, or you're going to feel something, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully it sparks something positive in you to take action. I would say is the ultimate goal of my content is to spark some sort of positive, actionable steps.
Yeah, yeah. Because I watch your stuff regularly, and one of the things that I appreciate is that you show the behind the scenes of your day to day, but it's not just a typical vlog where you're vlogging just for the sake of it.
Mhm.
But there's elements where you can be introspective. You share, wisdom or your experience, and you also show your personality too, so people can see, not what appears to be like a crafted image, but just who you are, right? And I think there's structure. I think there's structure to it. The production is good, and you could tell it's well thought out. So I think you're doing a good job with it.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring, I don't want to say something new, but I
Something
just
authentic to you.
experience on the YouTube platform, and I think that's what makes a creator is someone who
Mm-hmm.
brings new experiences, new ways of showcasing content, and that's
Mm-hmm.
as simple as it is. I just wanted to create experiences that provokes emotions
Yeah.
versus a lot of the typical content out there. And there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with content out there doing something a little different, hopefully.
Yeah. So there's one particular segment that you did that I kind of wanted to ask you about it,
Yeah.
and like I found it to be honest, and it sounded a bit vulnerable, but I got so curious after you were talking about it. You were talking about the Men Strong program in particular. So, like full disclosure, I actually use it. Like I paid for both the Get Big and the Get Rip program, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I found it to be beneficial, with all the workout programs that it has, the meal plans, then there's video directories on how to do the workout. Like it's very thorough. But in one of the series you did,
Hmm.
I think it's called like I think I failed or something like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it seemed like you're being a bit hard on yourself. So I kind of wanted to ask you, I'm like, why do you think that you failed when you created like a really great product?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times people create great products. It just doesn't stick, because
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason. And because my attention is being spread out on the various ventures I'm doing, I'm not able to realistically put the effort it deserves. So you know, and and I have other ventures I want to do. So you start assessing, okay, this is a great service that I have, but it has not stick. I've given it years, and and that's just business.
Yeah.
Some businesses just have to close shop, and that's just the nature of it. And you take those lessons, and that's not the only business I've had handfuls of business operations that just did not stick, or I didn't have the capacity anymore because I'm putting my attention elsewhere or on other things that are showing more fruits of labor. And you just adjust. That's just the nature of business. And yeah, I was just letting people know, like, hey, these things happen and it's okay, right?
That makes sense. I mean, that's
I don't think if Man Strong was my only bread and butter, I would have. There's no. I would. It would. I would put all my focus on it, and it would. There has to be no way it would fail because that's my bread and butter. But literally running 10 plus operations simultaneously, things are gonna get left behind. That's just the truth of it.
Yeah, when you put it like that, it makes sense. But like when I was watching the video, I'm like, I wasn't sure if it was just like, man, is he being hard on himself?
Well, you have a connection to it because you have already gone through it. You're getting the value from it, so you're like, hey, I like this. But for someone who has to open up their pocket and swipe their card to get it, they don't have that same connection as you because they have not invested money in it.
That makes sense. Yeah, I get what you see. Now that you've explained it, and I'm glad I asked. Now I get your perspective on it.
Yeah.
And then another one of your videos too that intrigued me. You visited a graveyard and you were discussing life and death. Now, I know you weren't trying to sound morbid or depressing or negative. You were just kind of coming at it from a more reflective, I guess, thinking about the bigger picture of life, right?
Totally.
But what was it that compelled you to want to put that video out there?
It's not deep at all. I mean, I'm coming out of a studio. I see a graveyard. I'm like, hey, there's a graveyard here. Like, maybe we should take a little drive through here and really, get in tune with what's going on. Like, what really is. It wasn't deep. It was just what it was. Yeah, and I 100% stand by it. I don't think anything. But
I don't think you did anything wrong.
I don't think anything put this reality into perspective than the one that reflects on their demise.
No, it's true.
And I just wanted to remind people that about that, because again, it's not all about just business and failures and success and wins and losses and the good and the bad times. The ultimate is that, right? And if you can remember that once in a while, hopefully every day, then you'll be, I think, level-headed.
Yeah, I agree. It's not something like we should be fixated on, and it shouldn't be something that consumes us. You just keep it in the back of your mind. This is just live in the moment and enjoy it, and try to maximize the most out of everything you can in life, because you just never know, right?
Of course, we never know. I mean, we do know.
We just don't know when.
Exactly. And I think if you are an aware individual, I think the moment you do reflect on that, if there is something that doesn't spark within you to be like, you know what, to live a more selfless life, I think that's what's going to happen. But it's hard to not, like, if you don't reflect on your demise, then you think life is all about making money and or success or whatever it is. And that's not what it all is about. Yeah.
And I'm going to share a very little known Adam fact, but growing up, you were actually nicknamed Kobe. And that was because of the resemblance you had to him. And because that was always your nickname, I've always had that association. Like whenever I saw him, I just saw you. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you remember this, but I don't know. I find it to be a little bit ironic, but I was actually at your house the day that he announced his retirement in the form of a poem on the Players Tribune. And I remember telling you at the moment that it happened, I'm like, Kobe just announced his retirement.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like it was a little bit shocking because, you know, at some point, you know, everyone's going to like athletes retire, but he's just someone that he just seemed like he'd always play. You know what I mean? But now looking at it, it's been over a year since he passed. No one saw that coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know you had an admiration for him and a huge respect for him. So what did Kobe mean to you, and what does his legacy represent to you?
At this point of my life, I can certainly say Kobe is the most influential personality of my life to this very point. And I think I mean, his greatness through the game of basketball was what I adored while he was alive, but it was his passing that really took me down a journey of self-reflection and just this whole entire reality. Because now you know, the person that one of your favorite icons while they were alive, you know, passes away, you're almost like, is this even possible? You know, this greatness can die. And it becomes, yeah, he definitely took me down a journey of real reflection, and that no death has done to me so far. No one's death has done that to me so far. What the person I've become in the last 365 has definitely been sparked by Kobe's life and his transcending to the next, wherever that is.
Yeah, that one was, it felt so surreal. Like even now it still doesn't feel like it happened. I know it sounds strange because it's been over a year, but still a part of it just it feels unreal. But
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But is there anything about you that you think people should know?
Anything that people should know? I think maybe, you know, if God permits, maybe down the pipeline, I'll write a book. But things that just come to my mind is I think I'll always, if whoever I cross path with, I always try to enlighten people, leave them with something to ponder on. Yeah, that's one thing. Like if I didn't enlighten someone, I was not in my bag that day. So I'm always trying to have meaningful interactions with people, give some sort of meaningful, whatever it is, just something that people can get out of. And I'm always trying to get, you know, gems out of people as well. So I'm a learner first, and I'm always going to try to teach as well. That's for sure. I'm always going to be selective in the spaces I go into. Definitely big on energy and just where I go and who I'm around with. You know, I would say that, and I would let people know that, you know, be very mindful of who you surround yourself with, because you become, you know,
Your environment.
You become your environment. You become the spaces that you walk into or create.
Yeah.
Or allow in.
That's very true. And I think I told you this, but going into this year, that line that you said in one of your vlogs, F a vibe, I'm going with what you show me.
Yeah.
Like, it's something that it was like an off the cuff remark that you said in a conversation with someone. But there's a lot of truth to it, because, you know, sometimes people can mask their vibe, right? They can hide who they are.
Yeah. Especially now, there's this culture of like, everybody keeps talking about vibes. You know, it was a good vibe. It was a good vibe with a bunch of fucked up people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you could be sitting around doing nothing. Like, and that could be a good vibe. Like, but it's like, no, what is the person doing? Who is their character?
Yeah, who are these people you're around with? Yeah, the music was bumping while you was around a bunch of fuckery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am not going with vibes no more. I'm going with what you show me. Whatever you show me, I'm taking that shit for face value. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't care about what you got to say. I'm going with what you show.
You know, one technique I taught myself, right? And this is something that I had to like kind of learn over the years, is like we're always looking for the big things that people do, right? But I learned to kind of pay attention to more of the subtleties of what a person does to kind of get a better understanding.
Oh, absolutely. I'm actually going to be talking about this in my next episode.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
You see, there's an alignment now, bro, because like I think that's very important because we're always waiting for someone to do something big. Sometimes we set the bar so high where like obviously a person is not going to do the big things right away, right? But sometimes it's the subtle things that they might do that might be an indicator of a bigger problem that you'll find out down the line. So that awareness of just really paying attention and then adapting and moving accordingly is very important. It's something that I learned years ago, and it's helped me and it's saved me so much time since in terms of like weeding people out and figuring out people's characters.
I agree. Yeah, I don't really have any more to add to that. I mean,
I'm going to be looking forward to the video on that one then.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Before we wrap things up, how can people connect with you and how or where can they support you?
Yeah, my handle across social is Adam Won't Lose. My podcast is called Everyday Hustle. My YouTube channel is called Everyday Hustle. And my website, everydayhustle.shop. Yeah, I invite everyone to grow with myself on this journey. And you can find me on the socials.
All right.
And thanks so much for having me on your podcast.
Oh, of course. No, thank you for your time, bro. It's much appreciated.
No worries.
Yeah. All right. Adam, until next time, it was great having you on the Wire to Wire podcast. Thanks again.
Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate you, bro.
Likewise. Yeah. Bless.
Take care.
Cheers.